Hi everyone, today we're gonna read A House for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle. What do you guys see on the cover of this book? I see hermit crab, I see its shell, and I see the many different colors over here on the bottom where the hermit crab's walking. What do you guys think this book might be about? I think this might be about a hermit crab because the title says Hermit Crab, a house for hermit crab. So I think this book might be about a hermit crab. Let's read to find out. A house for a hermit crab. Time to move, said Hermit Crab. One day in January, I've grown too big for this shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me? He thought, I must find a new house soon. So this is Hermit Crab. And it's the month of January. And Hermit Crab says that he is too little for his shell. So this is his shell. And look, this is Hermit Crab. And look how big Hermit Crab is. Hermit Crab is so big and his shell is so little. So Hermit Crab says that his house is too small, so he stepped out of his shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening to be in the open sea without his shell to hide in, because hermit crabs use their shell to hide in it. So it was frightening for him to step out of his shell. He's worried what if a big fish attacks him? What's gonna happen if a big fish attacks him? So he has to find so Hermit Crab has to find a new house very soon. He has to find a new house very soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside it to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looked so well plain, thought Hermit Crab. So look. So now it is February. So it was January, now it's a month later, February. And Hermit Crab was looking for a new house. And he found a new house right over here. Look, he found a shell. It's right over here. He found a shell. And it's right over here. So he is going to move right in. He's going to move right into this house. But it looks plain. So Hermit Crab thinks that this house looks really plain. What do you think Hermit Crab is going to do? Do you think he's going to decorate the house? How do you think he's going to decorate the house? Is he going to paint his shell? Is he going to put things on his shell? How do you think Hermit Crab is going to decorate his shell? In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain, it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. So this is a sea anemone. So Hermit Crab took one of them and put it on his shell because his shell looks so plain. So he asked the sea anemones, would you want to be on my shell so you guys can make my shell look pretty? So he's taking one of them and putting them on his shell. So what else do you think Hermit Crab is going to put on his shell? What other things do you think he's going to find in the ocean? What else do you think he's going to find? Do you think he's going to add rocks on his shell? Do you think he's going to add seashells on his shell? Do you think he's going to paint his shell? Let's see. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the seafloor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would signal a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. So look, Hermit Crab is walking in the sea. And look, he finds, what does he find? He finds the starfish. He finds the starfish. And Hermit Crab asks the starfish if one of them would want to go on his shell so his shell looks nice and beautiful. And the starfish say, yes, we would love to come on your shell. So Hermit Crab is going to pick up one of the starfish and put them on his shell. So now Hermit Crab is going to have two things on his shell, the sea anemone and the starfish. So now he's going to have two things on his shell. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would create a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. So it is May now, so it's the month of May now. So look, so far, Hermit Crab has two things on his shell. So now it is May and Hermit Crab is walking on the sea floor and he found some coral. Look, he found some coral. So he's saying to the coral, how pretty you are. So he's saying how pretty you are and if they would be willing to help his house look more beautiful. And the coral said, yes, they would love to make his shell look beautiful. So now how many things will the Hermit Crab have on his shell? 3. He's going to have 1, 2, and 3. What else do you think he's going to add on his shell? And how many things do you think he's going to have on his shell? Do you think he's going to have 5 things, 10 things? How many things do you think Hermit Crab is going to have on his shell? Let's see who he finds next. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They gazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. How tidy and hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house? I would offer one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. So look, what did he find next? He found snails. And the snails were hard at work. They were busy at work. So Hermit Crab tells the snails, since you guys are so hard workers and you're busy working, would one of you want to come to my house and keep it clean, to make it clean? And they said, yes, we would love to come to your house and help you keep your house clean. So now, let's see how many snails there are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 snails. So now Hermit Crab is going to take one of these snails and put them on his shell so they can help keep his house clean. So they're going to help keep his house clean. So now he's going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's going to have 4 things on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to protect my house? I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. So now it is July. So it's the month of July now. So Hermit Crab is walking on the seafloor and he sees sea urchins. Look, he sees sea urchins. How many sea urchins do you guys see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I see 5 sea urchins. And what do you notice about the sea urchins? They are very pointy. Look, the sea urchins are very pointy. They're very pointy. So Hermit Crab wants the sea urchins to be part of his house because they will protect his house. So he wants the sea urchins for protection, to protect, to keep him safe, to keep his house safe. So he asks the sea urchins, can you guys help keep my house safe? And they said yes. So now the Hermit Crab is going to take one of these sea urchins and put them on his shell. So now he has a starfish, a snail. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. He's going to have 5 things on his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. It's so dark here, thought Hermit Crab. How dim it is, murmured the sea anemone. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish. How murky it is, complained the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like nighttime, cried the sea urchin. So now it is August. So Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. So look, this is the forest of seaweed. So this is the forest of seaweed. And it is so dark and so dim, meaning there's no light, they can't see. So they are unable to see because it's so dark. Look, there's no light. They're not able to see. Do you guys think you're going to go inside the forest of seaweed? Do you think Hermit Crab is going to go inside the forest? What do you guys think is inside the forest? Do you think maybe Hermit Crab is gonna find other friends that he could play with? Or maybe Hermit Crab might find other things that he could put on his shell. Let's see. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. So now it is August. So now it is the month of August. So look, Hermit Crab found some lanternfish. So the lanternfish are really bright. Look how bright these lanternfish are. They are very bright. Look, they are very bright. How many lanternfish do you guys see? I see 1, 2, and 3. I see 3 lanternfish. So they're very bright, these lanternfish. So Hermit Crab tells them, "You are so bright. Can you guys come on my shell so you could give our house some light?" So they said yes. So now the lanternfish are gonna join the rest of them and give the house bright light. So look, so now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's gonna be 6 things on his shell. Do you think Hermit Crab is gonna add more things onto his shell? Or do you think Hermit Crab is done? Let's see. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. So now it is the month of October. It is the month of October. So now as Hermit Crab was walking, he found some smooth pebbles. So here are the smooth pebbles. And he said, "How sturdy you are." Sturdy means strong. So the pebbles are strong. They're sturdy and strong. And then he told the pebbles, "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" That means rearrange means to make it look a different way. So look how the pebbles are like this. So Hermit Crab is gonna change the way they look. He's gonna put the pebbles in different order. And the pebbles said, "Yes, you can change the way we are sitting right now." So Hermit Crab is rearranging the pebbles. He's changing where they are sitting, where they are. So Hermit Crab is gonna rearrange them. What do you guys think Hermit Crab is going to create with the pebbles? So Hermit Crab wants the pebbles to keep his house safe. So what do you think he's gonna create with his pebbles, with these pebbles? Maybe another house? Maybe a fence for his house or a gate for his house? Let's see. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home. But he had come to love his friends. The sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lantern, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They are like a family. How can I ever leave them? So look now, it is November. It is the month of November. So now, Hermit Crab felt his shell seemed a little too small. So now, Hermit Crab is growing even more. So that means that his shell is growing smaller and smaller and smaller. So now, Hermit Crab needs another shell. But Hermit Crab doesn't want another shell. Look how many friends he has on his shell. Hermit Crab has so many friends on his shell. So Hermit Crab does not want to have another shell. He wants this shell, but he's too small for this shell. What do you guys think Hermit Crab is going to do? What do you think Hermit Crab is going to do? Maybe Hermit Crab might find new friends to put on his new shell. Or maybe he might put these new friends on the new shell that he finds. Let's see. In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. I have outgrown my shell, he said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here. But you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little crab. So look, now it is the month of December. So as Hermit Crab was walking, he found a smaller hermit crab. And look, this hermit crab outgrew his shell. Look, this is his shell. And he outgrew his shell. So he outgrew his shell. So Hermit Crab says, I outgrew my shell, so I don't need my shell anymore. So you can have this shell, and I'll find another shell. But the Hermit Crab says to the little Hermit Crab, you have to make one promise, that he's going to be good friends with all the friends on the shell. And the little Hermit Crab says, yes, I'm going to be great friends with your friends on your shell. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. So look, now it is the following January, another year passed. So here, Hermit Crab is even bigger. Look how big Hermit Crab is now. Look how big Hermit Crab is now. He is so big. He is so big. So now he outgrew this shell. He outgrew this shell. So now Hermit Crab is leaving this shell, and he's going to find an even bigger shell, an even bigger home to live in. So So where do you think he's... So look, he found another bigger shell. He found this big shell. But this shell looks plain. This shell looks plain. So he's wondering, what can I do with this plain shell? How can I decorate it? How can I make it look pretty? So he thinks that he's gonna add sponges, barnacles, clownfish, electric eels. So he can add all those things to his shell to make this shell look beautiful. So he's gonna add all these things to his shell to make it look beautiful. The end.